So I haven't made a video in about 6 months, and I thought now is finally the time to get back into the swing of things. You know, crypto's doing pretty good. We seem to have bottomed out. All my stables have gone back into mainly Solana and a few other different altcoin picks. But with that being said, I thought it was the perfect time to make a new airdrop video, show you guys how to farm this new protocol, because there is a lot of new airdrops on Solana right now. So I'll be covering the rest of those in other videos. But today we're just going to be talking about Loopscale. So Loopscale is a brand new lending protocol. It's been out for about a week or two publicly. And the big reason why I think this is going to be a lucrative airdrop is obviously the product is really good. We're going to talk about that. We're going to be talking about how to use it and what makes it so much different from all these other lending protocols, because a lot of them are, pretty much the same. And then we're going to be talking about how lucrative the airdrop could be and obviously how to farm it. So one of the first things that I noticed that's going to suggest this being a potentially lucrative airdrop is that we have these big venture capital backing. So we have Solana Ventures, Jump, Coinbase, and a handful of other ones. So the last time that we've seen an airdrop backed by these guys, it was actually this time last year that it kind of reminded me of it, was the Parcel airdrop. So Parcel raised $4 million in their round one, just the same as Loopscale. And you can see people on Twitter, tons of different people making, 5 figures off of farming that airdrop only for a few months. So if we could see something like that for Loopscale, that would be really nice. So while Loopscale does have a point system, they are hinting at an airdrop. We don't know too much yet, because the big thing that we need to really see before we can tell if it's going to be a really lucrative airdrop or not is how much of the token generation event is going to get allocated to farmers. So we don't know that yet, but with these backings and with the product being so good, I think it's going to be a lucrative airdrop. So before I explain to you guys how Loopscale works, I want to explain the problem that other lending protocols have, because that's the point of Loopscale. It's here to solve that problem. So if we go to Camino, I'm just on the USDC lending page right now. The first thing that you'll notice is that the borrow APY is much higher than the supply APY. So if you're borrowing, you'd much rather the rate on your contract to be 4% like the supply APY instead of 12%. And if you're lending, you'd much rather get it 12% than 4%. So those two numbers being completely different is, one inefficiency that Loopscale tries to solve, which you'll see in a minute here. And another one, and this is the big kicker, is this is the historical rates for USDC over the last 6 months. You can see that, let's say you started borrowing on the 15th of November, you're paying 12%. There's no updates, there's no notifications that this is happening, but the rates change algorithmically, right? So the rates are based on utilization, an algorithm based on utilization. So the more people that are borrowing in relation to how much is being lent, the higher the rates are going to be. So like I said, you could open a borrow position on 16th of November, 12%. And then, you come back and you check and you're paying 30% for that same position. But it's also really bad for bookkeeping as well. Like if you're, holding a position for 6 months, finding the average of how much you paid over that 6 months is going to be very difficult. So that's the big problem with Camino, because they're algorithmic rates. And we'll talk about Loopscale and kind of how they solve that, because Loopscale actually uses a order book method for its rate. So it's going to be, you basically open up a position and then it's going to find somebody. Say if you're a lender, you open up a position, it's going to find somebody to borrow exactly against your position at whatever rates, whatever duration, whatever LTV you choose. So this is kind of what that looks like. You can see the order book here, and then you can choose, your APY, your LTV, and the duration. So say if you have a 3-month contract with somebody or 3-month position, for that entire 3 months, if you choose the APY at 6.61%, that's how much it's going to be for that entire 3 months until the position's closed and you open up another one with somebody else. So hopefully that was a good enough explanation. Now let's actually go on to Loopscale, see what the website looks like. So you can see that there's lending on here, obviously, and what we're talking about with the customizable order book based approach to it. That's going to be here on USDC. So you can see the credit book right here. And then you can see if I want to, I can go and open up a new contract. I can supply USDC. I can obviously pick other tokens to supply as well. I can choose the eligible collateral. I can choose the target APY based on the time frame that I want. And before somebody actually goes ahead and takes the other side of your order, you get an idle capital APY. So until somebody takes that order on USDC, for example, you'll be getting 4%, which is pretty neat. There's also a looping section here, which is basically just leverage trading. One of the more enticing ones that I was looking at is JLP. You can use up to 10x leverage on any of these. So if you're a leverage trader and you're wanting to farm this airdrop, I would definitely recommend, going away from that DEX that you normally use for leverage trading and start using Loopscale if you think that the airdrop could be lucrative so you can get these points up. So speaking of the points, we're going to get into that right now, talk a little bit about strategy and different ways that you can get points. So if you click the link in the description, it's going to take you to the Loopscale website. And then the first thing that you can do to get some points, if you just go into the bottom right corner here on the point section, if you just connect your wallet and then you follow Loopscale on X, there's 2,000 points for you right there. And then if you join the Discord, connect your, obviously with your Discord and your wallet connected, you're going to get another 3,000 points. So that's free 5,000 points you can get without even putting any capital up. And if we go to the docs, you can just see the points are earned through lending, borrowing, looping, referring users, and interacting with supported partner ecosystems. So all that's pretty straightforward, except for the supported partner ecosystems. Basically what that means is that you can just get eligible for more than one airdrop. Like say, for example, if you are holding Solana in one of the, if you're looping Solana with Sol on Loopscale, you're not only going to be getting eligibility for the Loopscale airdrop, but also the Solana airdrop as well. So aside from the advanced lending and the order books that we were just talking about, they have some Genesis vaults, which are basically just regular pools similar to ones that you'd see on Camino. But they all have a cap right now. You can see USDC 20 million, USDG 5 million, and then Solana 15 million. And you can see there's a couple other ones right here. The whole point of these is to get as much liquidity as possible onto Loopscale at this early stage. So if you deploy some capital on here, you'll be able to get extra points for the few weeks that these pools are going to be up. So if you're looking to airdrop farm, this is the best way to do it. So if you're like me and you're deploying Sol on here, there's two different ways of going about it. You can put your stables on here as well. I personally don't have any stables left right now. So you're choosing between the Sol Genesis and the Jito Sol pool. The Sol Genesis one is going to be more lucrative for the airdrop if you're looking to speculate on the airdrop, and the Jito Sol one is better for just pure yield. So the Jito Sol one, right away you're getting, by holding Jito Sol because it's a liquid staking token, you're going to be getting 8% on that. And then by putting it onto Loopscale, you're getting an extra 3.5%. So you're getting 11.5% yield by holding it, and then you're getting, as you can see right here, 13,000 daily points per $1,000 you have. So if you have $1,000 in this pool, you're going to be making 13,000 points every day on it. And then with the Sol Genesis pool, it's a little bit different. So you're only going to be getting 9.8% APY, no yield on your Sol because it's just native Sol, but you're going to be getting twice as many points. You're going to be getting 26,000 points per day per $1,000 you have invested. So I'm looking to get a little bit more exposure to this airdrop. So for me personally, I just deposited as much Sol as I could that's just sitting idle into the Sol Genesis vault. Now for looping, if you're a leverage trader, then I would definitely suggest, like I said, to use Loopscale temporarily while they're doing the incentive to trade leverage. But I wouldn't put any up if you're not normally a leverage trader. Like I was thinking personally, like, oh, I'll just put, I'll put up my JLP into here with 10% leverage, 1.1x leverage. But the amount of points that you're getting is very minuscule. I'll go to another pool that's not capped to check it out real quick. Yeah, so for example, if you put up like just one of these random pools, Frag Sol, with 1.1x leverage, you're only going to be getting 62 points per day. So it's not really worth putting a position up unless, like I said a couple times, I'll say it again, unless you're actually a leverage trader, and then I would suggest using Loopscale temporarily. So that's the strategy for now. It's very, very simple. Just put your Sol onto Loopscale and then simply wait until we can see how lucrative this airdrop is going to be. But anyways, that's it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you guys subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be posting a ton of new informative and concise DeFi tutorials just like this one on airdrops, my coin picks, and just overall macro outlooks on Bitcoin and DeFi and the DeFi ecosystem in general. Make sure to show some support, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.